When was the last time you genuinely felt really excited about your life? For me, it had been a really, really long time, and I hadn't planned to reinvent myself in my 50s. It happened because I finally stopped ignoring how I was feeling. Hi, I'm Annette-Lee, and welcome into Stepping Into Her. This is a space for women who are ready for more, who are ready for that next part of their journey. Maybe you're thinking, I should feel grateful, but I can't help but feel, is this it? I know exactly how you feel because I felt exactly the same not that long ago. I hear so many people talk about this season of life as in, we're having a midlife crisis. It's seen in such a negative um, frame, and I really call bullshit on that because I believe that this season of our life is exciting. This is an awakening. This is an opportunity for a fresh start. And in this podcast, we're going to talk about reinvention, identity shifts, and how to create a life that truly lights you up. We're going to be having real conversations, hearing real raw stories, and talking about simple steps to help you to step into that next version of yourself. So this is your space, this is your time, and let's step into her together. Now, I want you to think of life as a road trip. This is how I like to think of it. Just a beautiful road trip, and there are stops along the way. You've got your rear view mirror where, you can see what was behind you, where you've been. But the stops along the way give you time to reflect on where you've been and then activate you to think about what's next, what's the next part of the journey of that road trip. And there are all of these little moments in life that are like that road stop, like birthdays. Um, you know, you're reflecting on your past year and thinking about what you want the next year to look like. And then you're standing there with the candles lit, and just before you blow them out, you make a wish. There's actually a name for this. It's called the fresh start effect. These moments give you hope, they give you inspiration maybe for the next 12 months ahead. They maybe give you motivation to make some changes. Um, it's like a mental reset, like the clean, open road ahead. And New Year's resolutions work the same way, that feeling of a blank slate. So do the big moments of life: marriage, the birth of a baby, death, where something ends and something new begins. Maybe this is why we love a new journal so much. It feels like the possibility of a new you, a better you, new routines, a better organization, new plans, that the change that comes with that, or hopefully comes with that. And psychologists actually call these temporal landmarks, these moments that mark the passing of time. So, January the 1st is one, a birthday is another. A breakup or a divorce does the same thing. And with a breakup or a divorce, there's a huge identity shift. You were a couple and now you're single. Maybe you're a solo mum. Like, it's such a huge identity shift. And that can be terrifying at first and incredibly stressful. But eventually, you start to see it as a fresh start, that temporal landmark, that opportunity for the fresh start and something new, the next part of the journey. So whether it's a Monday, a new journal, the end of a year, or making a wish on your birthday, these moments create a break from the past version of you and open the door to a whole new you. So I want you to tap into your deepest hopes and wildest dreams to see that you deserve to be happy. This is the fresh start effect in midlife. Midlife, as I said, it's not a crisis. It's not a decline. It is an awakening. It's exciting. It is what you make of it. It's a temporal landmark, the next leg of your journey. And this podcast, this is my invitation to you. This is your chance to let go of the past, a chance to allow yourself a fresh start, a time of reinvention, of self-discovery, and a time to step into a new version of yourself. And this is why I call this podcast Stepping Into Her. So I'm going to give you the first 2 steps that helped me to change the direction of my life. And these are really simple steps, and it was just the beginning. You know, this is the beginning of that next exciting part of your journey, as it was for me. I know the change is possible, and I know it is because I've seen it firsthand. I've experienced it for myself. You know, I've reinvented myself in my 50s, and I truly believe that if I can, you can too. So a little bit about me. Just about 3 years ago, I remember wondering if it was normal to think, like, what is the purpose of life? Like, is this it? Like, is this really all there is? And it took me a long time to get up the courage to actually say that out loud to somebody. And we were driving along in the car one day, and I took the opportunity to, took some courageous action and asked my partner that question. Like, have you ever wondered? In the car, it's always great to have these conversations because you're not that direct eye contact. So, he was driving, had his eyes on the road, and I don't remember exactly what he said, but I will never forget the look on his face. He looked a bit shocked and a little concerned. And at that moment, I knew that this wasn't normal. And I knew that I had to change something, that I was in control of my life. And if I was thinking like that, then I needed to do something and make a change. So, working out the things that I wanted to keep in my life, the things that I didn't want to change, that was simple. That was the easy part. I knew I wanted to continue working from home. I was working from home for a company, which was great in some ways, but I was not finishing work till 7 o'clock at night, and that was exhausting. Trying to run a farm, homeschool my daughter. My partner was still is, a fly in, fly out. So he wasn't here half the time, and I was just finding the hours really, really difficult. Just felt chained to my desk for 7-8 hours a day, or 8-9 hours a day. So I wanted to still be able to work from home, but not like that. It had to be different. I knew I wanted to continue homeschooling my daughter. That was non-negotiable. Farm life. Love, love, love farm life. So I wasn't feeling I wanted to change that. And my partner, of course, we had such a deep love for each other. So that was absolutely a non-negotiable. So, then I had to really stop and reflect and dig really deep to work out what things did need to change. For me, there were 2 things that had to change. First of all, improving my relationship. Now, we were deeply committed to each other, loved each other, but we'd both come into the relationship with a lot of baggage from past relationships and life. So we had some really deep inner wounds that we both needed to work on so that we could improve our relationship. So we started counselling. So that was one thing. The other thing was changing the way I earned money. As I said, I loved that I could work from home, but I didn't love the hours and how it pulled me away from just truly living life to the full. I was really drowning in mum guilt, not having time for I had 2 my two youngest at home still at the time, and I just didn't have time to spend with them because I was finishing at 7 at night, still having to go out and do the afternoon farm chores, and I was exhausted. It was actually a very mentally demanding job. So I had to change the way that I was earning money. And I also really needed to find a way to earn more money. I was, with the rising cost of living, I was really getting frustrated that I just couldn't get my savings up. I couldn't get ahead. So, there were no luxurious holidays and just spontaneous outings with my daughters. Everything was about the budget. So I could see other women online, scroll through social media, you see all the women living the life that you want. And I could see that they were earning great money, looking like they were just loving life with a calm, regulated nervous system, and I was burnt out. My nervous system was shot. So I wanted what they had. So I made it my mission to find out how. I did what probably we've all done. I Googled how to earn an income online. And I actually spent a few months researching, looking into every opportunity that was out there. And then I stumbled across one that just ticked all the boxes. It just felt so aligned, and I could see that it was not only going to be able to free up my time and improve my income, but also allow me to earn a passive income, have a future retirement fund attached to it. So finding that and then making that decision changed the direction of my life. And that might not be you, and that's fine. They were my two things. You might love your job, and that's great. And I speak to a lot of women in online business that do love their jobs, and they have a side hustle or an online business for other reasons, and that's absolutely fine. But this is just my story. For you, the question is, though, what in your life feels heavy? What is causing you to feel maybe just flat or stuck or just misaligned? What would you change in a heartbeat if you could? Self-awareness is critical. This is the first step. The first step is becoming aware of what those things are in your life that are draining you, that you would like to see change. Because, you can't change what you refuse to acknowledge. So step one is recognizing those things, the things that are not working, naming it, because when you name it, you pull it out of your body into the light where you can work with it. You get to decide what's next in your life. And that deciding, that's like making the birthday wish. That's that, this is what I want for my next chapter. Step two, do things that make you happy. This is a quote that I heard that I absolutely loved. Happy people do things that make them happy. I mean, it's so simple, isn't it? And yet it's so profound. We really need to start adding things back into our lives that just bring us pure joy. That in itself changes everything. Now, I had started counselling, as I said. My partner and I went, and did our own separate counselling to start working on those deep inner wounds. And my counsellor told me that I needed to do something that made me feel good, because all I did was work. I worked in my job, and then I worked on the farm, and weekends were just catching up around the farm and the home, and I was just missing my family. I was missing, my mum, my adult children, my grandchildren. And my counsellor said, the jobs are always going to be there. She said, you need to take at least one weekend a month to go and visit your family. Just start adding things in bit by bit back into your life that you enjoy doing, that you're too busy for. So I did that, and I tell you what, that changed so much for me, and that was just the beginning. For you, it might be completely different. Maybe it's yoga, joining some, starting some yoga classes. Maybe it's finding the time, making the time to go and have some walks on the beach. Maybe it's reading a good novel. Nothing in particular, just something that you can just get lost in, the kind of novel that you enjoy. Maybe it's booking some coffee dates with friends. You get to be the driver of the fun bus, and you need to make it your mission to add something. And I actually want you to do that this week. Just add one thing this week that you love doing. And I would love for you to share it with me. So just follow me on Instagram, Annette at Annette-Lee.co, and drop into my DMs and let me know what you've added. I would love to hear from you. Okay, I want you to remind yourself daily, if other women can change their lives, you can too. And I want you to put a sticky note up somewhere. Write it on your bathroom mirror where you see first thing in the morning. Put a couple around the house if you need to. Put one on your steering wheel in your car. If other women can change their lives, I can too. Because you truly can, and you need to remind yourself of that. I didn't see these other women on social media and hate them for living the life I wanted. I could have. I could have been jealous. I could have felt really annoyed by them. But I chose to see them as an example of what was available for me too. Like they were shining a light for me to follow. And that's what you need to do. You need to remind yourself, really start rewiring your thought process, your mind, and stop accepting what you have now. Be grateful, but that doesn't mean you have to stay small and stay where you're at. You get to go on the next leg of your journey, the next part of the road trip. So I want you to really force yourself to dream again, because when you give up your dreams, you give up on yourself. I'm going to say that again because I really want you to get that. When you give up on your dreams, you give up on yourself. So I want you to force yourself to dream again. There was a time where I didn't have anything to look forward to, and because of the counselling sessions and the advice she gave me, I started to add things in bit by bit. Not all at once. It's, one baby step at a time. Maybe for you, it's a bubble bath. When was the last time you had a bubble bath? Or even a glass of wine while you have a bubble bath? Maybe it's climbing into bed and opening a good novel. Maybe it's joining a yoga class. Maybe it's the walk on the beach, the coffee dates, a special date night, a weekend away, family time. Whatever it is for you, you add things and change things in your life bit by bit. Now, I want you to know this. This was really interesting, and it is so, so true. And I can see it for myself, reflecting back. How you're feeling now is a function of what you see in the future. And I didn't see anything in the future. It was just a blank page. And I could see that overflowing into my daily life. So if you see overwhelm and nothingness, that is how you're going to feel. So dream big. Put something in your future that calls you forward. My mission with this podcast is simple: to help you create a better life. If this spoke to you, follow and subscribe. As I said, follow me over on Instagram at Annette-Lee.co and drop in and say hi. Share this podcast or this episode with a friend who's ready for more, who is ready for that fresh start. Let's share the love and encourage women and show as many women as we can that this is not a midlife crisis. This is a fucking awakening, and it's exciting. I'm going to drop in the show notes a link to a free ebook, and that has another couple of steps for the beginning of your reinvention. And I hope that you find it really helpful. You're welcome to share it with friends. And just one more thing, I really, really want you to know that I believe in you. See you in the next episode.